Of Toon Soup. Today we are not accompanied, unfortunately, by Ketsu. However, we do have Riggs here. So we will be reviewing Spirited Away, a Miyazaki classic, and a Whisker Away, which is a Netflix movie that I kind of felt like was inspired by Miyazaki, maybe. I'm not sure. Anywho, let's just start off we haven't been on for a week or so, I think, right, Riggs?
2 weeks, yep.
Yeah, what have you been up to, man?
Not much. Just working, watching lots of anime, raising
Cool.
children.
Yeah.
Trying to be a supportive husband.
It's just the struggle of the 21st century, right?
Yeah, just living the American dream,
That's right. The American dream. All right. Okay, just a little easy listening lo-fi hip-hop here. And all right, so I'm just going to read the brief synopsis here of Spirited Away.
All right.
All right, Spirited Away is a 2001 Japanese animated fantasy film written and directed by Hayao Miyazaki, animated by Studio Ghibli, which is our theme for the month, for Tokuma Shoten, all that stuff, right? The film features the voices of Rumi Hiraji, Mio, Irino, Mari, Natsuki, Nakatashi. I mean, there's a lot of people here. Yatsuko, Tsunatahiko, Tikahiko, and Bunta. Spirit Away tells the story of Chihiro Ogino, or Hiraji. And the name was Hiraji, wasn't it, Riggs?
Yeah, it's probably the English version.
Okay. A 10-year-old girl who, while moving to a new neighborhood, enters the world of kami, spirits of Japanese Shinto folklore.
Uh-huh.
After her parents are... I was just making sure I was reading that correctly. After her parents are turned into pigs by the witch Yubaba, Chihiro, or Hiraji, takes a job working for Yubaba's bathhouse to find a way to free herself and her parents and return to the human world. Miyazaki wrote the screenplay after he decided the film would be based on the 10-year-old daughter of his friend Seiji Ukunda, the film's associate producer, who came to visit his house each summer. At the time, Miyazaki was developing 2 personal projects, but they were rejected. With a budget of US $10 million, production for Spirited Away began in 2000. Pixar animator John Lasseter, a fan and friend of Miyazaki, convinced Walt Disney Pictures to buy the film's North American distribution rights and served as executive producer of its English dub version. Lasseter then hired Kirk Wise as director and Donald W. Ernst as producer, while screenwriters Cindy and Donald Hewitt wrote the English language dialogue to match the characters' original Japanese language lip movements. Interesting. Originally released in Japan in 2001, July 20th, by distributor Toho, the film received universal acclaim, grossing $395.8 million at the worldwide box office. It is frequently regarded as one of the best films of the 21st century, as well as one of the greatest animated films ever made. Accordingly, it became the most successful and highest-grossing film in Japanese history, with a total of 31.68 billion yen. It held the record for 19 years until it was surpassed by Demon Slayer Kimetsu no Yaiba, the movie Mugen Train, in 2020. Won Academy Awards for Best Animated Feature at the 75th Academy Awards, making it the first and only hand-drawn and non-English language animated film to win the award. It was the co-recipient of the Golden Bear at the 2002 Berlin International Film Festival, and within the top 10 of the British Film Institute's list of top 50 films for children up to the age of 14 in 2016, and was voted fourth best film of the 21st century by the BBC, as picked up by 177 film critics from around the world, making it the highest ranking anime film on the list. In 2017, it was also named the second best film of the 21st century so far by the New York Times. So, lots of acclaim behind that. It's a great film. I guess, Riggs, let's just start off with you.
Sure.
What do you think? What do you think in comparison to the other Miyazaki films?
It's good. One of his best for sure. I haven't just it's newer, so I mean, you gotta kind of take it with with that type of frame of reference, right? So, it looks cleaner. There's just a lot more stuff going on that just appeals to the general audience. So it's definitely just they keep taking what they're learning and moving on and moving forward, right? So every piece is always kind of better than the last one that comes out. Yeah, I just really enjoyed this. I watched it again more recently, the last week here, just to kind of rehash my thoughts. And I mean, I wouldn't.
What was your? I guess. What about this film made it good in your eyes?
Story. The story was really well done. The characters are really well drawn out. You kind of get a feel of everyone's personality. There's not a lot to distract you from what's the movie's plot. There's not stuff kind of going on in the background, that raises questions or conflicts with what's happening in the plot, right? So it's that soft world building that Studio Ghibli does, where they just kind of ignore everything outside of the bubble that the story is taking the story in, right? So we don't know what's going on with these spirits when they're not in the spirit realm. It's just the day-to-day life at the bathhouse. People are coming, people are leaving. You don't need to know anything more about them. So appreciate that too as well. What are your thoughts?
Well, what made it good was that, you kind of hit the nail on the head there. It's the world that it takes place in is, you have that sort of theme park they wander into, from the get-go, that they go across the river and it turns into this sort of, that's when they're spirited away, essentially, right, to this other realm. But there's a couple scenes that take place on the other side of the bridge or whatever. But usually pretty much everything happens, like you said, in the bathhouse itself. Which is kind of cool. I really enjoy the banter between the different there's these frog people, and there's these just different sort of species of humanoids that live in this bathhouse, and then there's the spirits as well. One scene that I think is kind of the linchpin of the I guess it's the linchpin of the movie. It's the one thing that makes everything possible for the 10-year-old girl, Haraji, I think is her name, to be able to get away from Yubaba and from this land of spirits is when she cleans off this filthy, like, huge muck monster, right?
Yeah.
And this it looks like kind of like Clayface from the Batman animated series, if you recall. And so she gets all these like wash tokens from that character, No Face.
No Face. Yep.
And she's just like completely like, oh, let's just, she dives right into this chore to get this, help this guy out. No matter, even though he stank like, sewer. It was like a very, what's the word? Not selfless act, but just like, her being a very kind and gentle person towards this being that she didn't even know. So she cleaned this thing up, and it turned out to be this spirit of this dragon of this river that apparently was massively polluted with all sorts of garbage. And she was gifted this, seemed like a medicine ball, I believe, that was critical in helping her other dragon friend re-find his own identity, and then also No Face as well. She fed some of it to No Face. So that scene itself, I felt like was, such a critical scene, and it was done so well. Even before that, it's just the colors are super dynamic. Like the gold that the No Face was giving out, it had that sort of luster, that looked like gold. The whole No Face character was like super creepy in a way, because you're like, what is this thing doing? Why is he not in the bathhouse? And you don't really ever get told what a No Face is.
Yeah.
Do you?
But he's also like the only one. He's just kind of hanging out. And he also seems to be like, he can go invisible. And and he seemed to be the only one who could see Sen, or Chihiro, whatever we want to call her. Well, she was crossing the bridge.
Yeah.
Where nobody else could see her. He was like watching her as she crossed the bridge. And so it's almost like they're on a higher plane, but aren't well respected. Like like they don't want anything to do with them. Nobody wants anything to do with them. Oh, it's a No Face. She just called it No Face, but I think Yobaba, didn't she?
Yeah, she called it
refer to it as a No Face. Like that was some sort of type.
It could be like, I don't know a lot about like Japanese, mythology or anything, but maybe it's like, maybe that's like a spirit of some person, right? Because I imagine like these are spirits of people and animals and whatever else that like maybe they committed suicide or something, and so they don't really have an identity in this like afterlife situation.
Well, but like yokai are very similar, right? That's all kind of I would say spirits and yokais are kind of one and the same, all in the same kind of plane, I would say. And they just exist. They are whether they're like the tree spirits from Princess Mononoke, where they're all like running around, right? They're not really necessarily, they're all kind of just tied to nature. So some of them can be born from human desires, and then they're just continually born, right? So they're not unique to the individual. They are, and they're born from whether it's human, the death or misery or human emotion, or like these other ones that are like, the great, the river spirits and stuff like that,
No, I gotcha. How did this movie differ in any way, good or bad, from the other Miyazaki films?
I would say the one thing that's most notable about this film compared to others is there isn't necessarily any link between being one with nature and like anti-industrial and stuff like that. It's not, there's really just none of that. Like there's nothing that
there kind of was.
I mean, not really.
The only really two mentions of it, not really. But the only two mentions were about the 2 river dragons.
Well, the one river
was polluted.
Oh, well, yeah.
And then the other was gone because it had been built, like a apartment complex had been built over top of it or something.
Well, it sounded like it was dammed or rerouted.
Yeah.
So the original river is no longer there.
So that's like the only mention of it.
Yeah, but I mean, they didn't even but he didn't die, right?
No.
So just because the river no longer exists doesn't mean his spirit no longer exists. So, and then the one, I mean, as soon as it was a very rough connection between how polluting something or damaging something in the human world has an impact on their spiritual world. But I mean, there wasn't even any talk about how polluted the river was because he sailed away looking just fine. So
and maybe this ties into the 2 films that were previously or the 2 projects that Miyazaki had on deck that got rejected, and this one that got approved. I wonder if those 2 maybe had more elements of his previous films.
Probably.
I would like to know what those projects were, I'm sure they were probably stellar projects.
Oh, so he did write this. Okay. I was wondering if he had written it or not. So yeah, I mean, this is much more a coming of age tale than it is harmony of humanity and nature. So and he doesn't really do a lot of those. There's like Kiki's Delivery Service.
But was that Miyazaki?
Maybe not. I mean, it was Studio Ghibli, but
Studio Ghibli, yeah. This felt like more Studio Ghibli influence than Miyazaki influence. I feel. I don't know. Maybe it's like.
No, so he did direct Kiki's Delivery Service.
He did? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I should watch that just to see what it's like.
It's depends on how deep you watch it, but if you watch it, it's being an adult, you really kind of pick up on the depression that she's going through some things.
Oh.
Long story short. Yeah, she's she goes through some things, and it's much more evident to an older audience than it is a younger audience. Where with a younger audience, you're just getting caught up in the shallow plot. Yeah. And that's kind of with this one, right? I remember it being a lot better when I was younger. Really being into it and watching it. And then as I watched it as I'm older, I'm like, this is good. It's just not my cup of tea. Like, I was watching it, I was just like, it never really drew me in. Maybe because I've seen it a bunch, but it's just like, again, I enjoyed it. It was nice. It was good. I really never got pulled into it. Like, there wasn't a moment where I was like, yeah, this is...
Yeah, no, I feel what you're saying there. I actually thought it was better this time around because I have a greater appreciation for Miyazaki films now than I did before. I paid a lot more attention. I don't know if I watched it with you originally.
Maybe.
But if I did, we were probably intoxicated. So.
As I said, I've watched it probably a few times, so that's
Yeah. This time, I watched it all the way through. Yeah, it's just yeah, like you said, it's
just
more
to me. I just think it's a film that gets diminished returns. The more you watch it. Like the first time you really watch it, you're like, yeah, this is really good, and then the second time you're like, yeah, it's really, and then like to the fifth, sixth time you watched it, you're like, yeah.
my one kind of question, and maybe you can clarify this for me or clarify it, is Dragon Boy,
Haku.
He goes and steals the witches. The twin sisters seal.
Zimbabwe.
He goes and steals the seal, okay, which is apparently a magical item or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he gets jacked up somehow. He gets really sick from something. That or... I mean, Yubaba had put this other curse on him. I'm not really sure what made him sick in that whole situation, but why did he go steal that seal from her?
Because Yubaba wanted him to.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's always alluded that nobody likes Haku because he's a bad guy.
Yep.
And that his only job there is to do Yubaba's dirty work.
Right.
So like anything that she needs done that requires force, he's basically the enforcer of Yubaba. So he goes to his sisters to steal the seal for Yubaba, but it's never alluded to why he did it.
Yeah.
Or what anybody would have done with it, because they just kind of gave it back. I was under the impression
that he stole it for himself so that he could use its magic to help Sen, or
I mean, maybe. I don't necessarily think so. Because it seemed like Yubaba had a kind of a thing for her sister, or she was like afraid of her.
Yeah, I didn't really understand the huge baby thing. Like, that kind of just threw me for a loop. I was just like, what's this huge baby all about? Like, I don't know. I mean, they just don't. And then the three heads, it's just like they're bouncing around.
The giant baby definitely gave me vibes of Akira when the three psychic dudes are. And it's just like, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of fit, but like, I didn't really understand like its place. But then the whole thing was weird anyway. Like,
I think it was just a little comedic relief type thing. I don't think there was any. Plot to it.
Who's your favorite character?
I kind of like the Boilermaker, the boiler guy.
Mine too. I like the boiler guy too. He was like kind of like the, watching out for everybody type of guy. Yeah. Really, he had that big bushy
beard and
big bushy beard.
I like how he was just talking shit to the little little soot things, those little soot slaves, and then those are actually, I would probably say if a character is my favorite, is probably those guys. So those guys they're just pretty funny, and they're just like, the one falls, so she picks it up and brings it over and throws it in there, and then they all just stare at her and like drop it on themselves. And
yeah.
And then the dude gets pissed off, so he starts begging. He's like, "Get to work!"
Like, you can't take somebody else's job, then they won't do it. Yeah, it's pretty good. That one lady that was helping out in the bath that gave
Mhm.
was helping out Sen. She reminded me a lot of the kind of leader of Irontown
Oh
from
yeah.
very much, very much so. But I mean, it's kind of one of those anime cases.
I think it's her
Um,
voice too. I want to say her voice is very similar.
it could be, yeah. Well, wasn't that Minnie Driver?
I mean, yeah, I'm just saying it was similar. I don't think it was the same
Yeah,
person. I don't
sure.
know who. Lynn, Suzanne, again, whatever.
Yeah.
But,
Um,
yeah, they
let's
actually didn't have any like real big names for voice actors for this.
no,
So,
it
that's
didn't.
surprising.
Yeah. But it held its own, and honestly, I thought it was more for like kind of kids anyway, and kids usually
Yeah.
don't recognize voices as well as adults.
Mm-hmm.
But it was good. Do you wanna give it a certain amount of bowls of soup?
Sure. I guess we'll do the two, right?
Yeah, we'll do a whisker away next.
No, I meant just the two, right? We're doing
Oh,
Studio Ghibli and
yeah,
overall.
yeah,
So,
yep.
overall, I give her I'm gonna give her a reluctant 5.
For Studio Ghibli.
No, for overall. I think it is a really well done anime.
Yep.
I just wasn't that much into it, but I remember watching it years ago and just being way more into it, and so it's just like I think it's just I've seen it so many times, it just
It's lost its luster.
yeah, it's lost its luster. But as far as Studio Ghibli films, I think I might have to give her a 4.
Okay.
I mean, I know it's acclaimed as being one of the best. I don't really know what would make it that much better, and I wouldn't put it on the same pedestal as I put Princess Mononoke. So
Okay.
Princess Mononoke to me is it's on its own, pristine, perfect.
I'd give it a 4 in the grand in the grand scheme of things. And probably a 4 for Studio Ghibli. The reason I give it a 4 for whereas you gave it a 5, I don't think it would appeal to. It's hard to say. I mean, the animation's there, the music is there. I don't know. I mean, it's tough to say 4, but
See, that's why I said it was a borderline 5. Like it's a reluctant 5. Like I'm using it as a frame of reference compared to other animes. I have to remember what was it like watching it the first couple of times.
Yeah.
So
the reason I think I'd give it a 4 is because in some of this throughout most of the middle of the film, I was really entertained by them having to wash that gross giant slime ball. That was cool. And then the just grotesque no face just gobbling up people and food and all this stuff. That was entertaining. But there was some scenes where, and you'll have this in a lot of movies, but I was just where the fuck is this going?
yeah.
She's staring at her parents that are the pigs, and you're just like, well, how the hell is she gonna get out of this situation?
Well, what are you gonna do now?
and then Dragon Boy is like, hey, just go ask Yababa for a job. And
no, he was saying to go talk. That was one thing that was kind of weird, right? Is he's like, don't go talk to Yubaba because she'll steal you. Go talk to the Boilermaker. And get a job from him.
Yeah.
Go get a job from him. And then he was like, Yeah, go talk to your mama and get a job.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. And then the one lady's like, "Don't help me out. I don't want your help. You smell like a human."
yeah,
And then like she ends up going to Yababa anyway,
yeah.
giving away her name. And then like, I mean, it was great that what's his name, Dragon Boy.
Haku.
What's his name?
Haku.
Haku. Thank you. Haku wrote it down for her, thankfully. But oh god, my pancreas. Oh, it's okay. Oh,
Okay.
I'm good. Sorry, I just had like a random like sharp pain in my like appendix. I think I'm dying. It's okay. All right. All right. Okay. So yeah, 4 bowls. Matter if it's regular Studio Ghibli, because I do think that I think the animation is better than Nausicaa, but I felt like I was just more enthralled by Nausicaa and Princess Mononoke a lot more. So yeah, that's where I'm at with that one. So did you watch the other movie?
Yeah.
You did? Okay. All right. Cool.
Unlike some people, I watch recommendations.
Well, anyway. So, okay. A whisker away. I'll just read a brief synopsis here.
You probably, if you're gonna read that wiki, I'd probably just read the first couple paragraphs and that's it.
Okay. Oh yeah, this is pretty long. I'll just read, first thing. Mio Sasaki is an unhappy middle school girl living in a town of Tokuhome, Ayachi Prefecture, who does not get along with her stepmother, Kararu. After her mother, Miki Sasaki, left, each day at school, she goes out of her way to flirt with her crush, Kento Hinote. He in spite of his repeated rejections, one day Mia receives a magical no mask from a mysterious mask seller, which lets her become a cat. As Taro, the cat, she spends time with Hinode at his home, keeps him company while he studies Japanese pottery and listens to his problems. She longs to confess that the cat that he loves and the girl that he hates are the same person, but is afraid that he will reject her and refuse to visit with Taro anymore. So I'll just stop reading there because that kind of gives you a synopsis of the film. Oh, I stopped sharing that. Okay. So I guess I'll start off this time if you don't mind.
Sure.
So the reason I picked this movie in conjunction with The Spirited Away, the names being similar, Spirited Away and A Whisker Away, it's kind of like they're not the same film, obviously. They're very different, but it has to do with being kind of transported to sort of a different world. I mean, think of it. If you're a cat, you're kind of, you're obviously in the same world, but you're seeing the world through how it is to be a cat.
Is she though? She's not really. She can understand all of the human speech. She can't speak to other cats other than the mask seller.
Yeah.
And she doesn't do anything cat-like. And she doesn't even eat cat food. He makes her fresh food. True.
So regardless,
she's still living her human life in a cat form. She just can't speak to anybody.
So, okay, there's some Miyazaki films where there's this one dealing with cats specifically, which I can't remember the name of right now. But at the end of this film, they go to this cat world, which is very similar to this Cat
Island.
Miyazaki film. You know what I'm talking about?
Cat Island.
Okay.
That's where they go, is Cat Island.
Okay.
You're probably talking about My Neighbor Totoro, but I'm not 100% sure.
Let me just Google this real quick.
Google away. It's the only one I could think you could be talking about is My Neighbor Totoro.
Yeah, maybe you're right.
But anywho,
yeah, I'm not really sure exactly. But I know that there's one with like a bunch of cats, that are like walking around like bipedal people, kind of. Anyway, this movie is like kind of, I don't know. I watched it a few times with my child. She really likes it because she, loves cats. But it's like, I don't think that like this is a great movie by any means. It's like this girl, like I said in the synopsis, wants to, or really likes this guy, whatever, in high school, and then gets this mask. And that the mask seller is very like, there's just elements of this movie that just remind me of things from these films that we watched this month.
Okay.
The huge cat man that sells the mask. Cat Island. I don't know. I mean, apart from that, it kind of seems like like Bleach. Like the whole backdrop just reminds me of Bleach, really, doesn't it?
I suppose. Like Bleach takes place in, I forget what prefecture, but it's mostly takes place in the town.
Yeah. So the towns are
town and stuff like that.
Must be very similar.
Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. The animation style, obviously, it's like it's not like over the top good or anything. I think it's interesting because it's like you see a lot of films from like obviously a human's perspective on things, and like you said, it's really from a human's perspective the entire time. It's just she turns into a cat. So it's like, I don't know. I mean, I don't really know what to say about this movie. I mean, what are your thoughts? Maybe I can springboard off some of your thoughts. What did you think about it?
I thought it was a roller coaster of Of
emotions.
No, just of me liking it. It had its highs and its lows. It started out well. Again, it's similar to Spirited Away when we're talking about a coming of age tale, right?
Yeah.
Someone they both happen to be girls, but they happen to be someone who's learning or is growing up, going through adolescence, and she thinks her life is, coming to an end. She just doesn't know how to move forward. She doesn't see anything bright or a reason to live. She just wants everything to go away. She wants the world to be destroyed. She just wants all of it. She wants, not only does she not want to be there, she wants the whole world to just go away, which is kind of weird. In like, okay, you're not happy with your life, but you want everybody to be. You want the world destroyed simply because you're not happy with your life. That seems a little dramatic. but okay.
But I mean, that's the life of being a teenager.
I guess. But I mean, you can tell that she was having some issues, right? It starts out with her at a festival with her mom, and her mom's like trying to convince her to come live with her, and she's like, "You're just being super selfish," and like storms off, right? And so there's really no context there, no explanation of what's going on, and then you learn that she's living with her dad. Her dad's got his girlfriend who lives with him now. So I don't know why they're calling her stepmom, because they're not married.
Right. Yeah.
They might be engaged, but they're not. She's just from our understanding, she's just a living girlfriend, right? So she seems nice. She seems to be trying to like go out of her way to like, be a good stepmom or a step parent, and she doesn't seem to be going out of her way to be mean to her. But apparently she's just hiding her whole facade behind a smile, right? So very typical story of, just someone being super happy all the time, where in reality they're not happy at all. They're just super depressed. That might relate back to your Bleach, analogy, where that's Odahime, where Odahime is like always happy and was always trying to help people out in Bleach, but then when she's alone, all she does is dwell on the fact that her brother's dead and she's got no one. And so there's that, and then she's got her friend, which is her friend's kind of weird. She just looks angry all the time, apparently. It's like, that's weird.
Her friend.
And she is obnoxious to this boy that she likes, right?
Oh yeah, super
like obnoxious. Like if I had a girl talking to me and doing the things she was doing, I would be the same way. I'd be like, get the fuck out of here, girl. Like, leave me alone.
Yeah, and it's like he has a lot of crap on his mind because, like, his
he's got his personal life. Yeah. So and then he ends up finding her in cat form. And then they have this like budding romance. That's where she comes like super obsessed with him, which is also like creepy to me. That was like super creepy. Like, girl, you're creepy. Like, you need to figure your things out.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
like
that is.
And so the cat, just the mask seller, just kept egging her on, being like, "Oh, he's only gonna love you when you're a cat. He doesn't like you when you're a human. Are you ever gonna tell him? Are you ever gonna tell him?" And then she writes that letter to him, which isn't even a love letter, because he gets to the bottom of the letter, where it's like, "Hey, I just wanted to let you know that we're all here for you, and I know that you have stuff going on in your personal life, so I just want you to know that we all just want to be here if you need somebody to talk to." And so, like, upon reading that, he's like, "Oh, I completely misjudged what this letter was," and he tries to recoup from that, but at that point she's already gone missing.
And then like what's her face takes over her body.
But then like the husband's mom, or the husband's girlfriend, is getting like shady text messages from the mom. I don't know if you remember that. So there's a point where she's sitting in the kitchen and she's reading this text message from the girl's mom saying, "I can't believe how you're doing this to my daughter. You need to get out of that house right now, blah, 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 blah." And like sends her a novel of a text message. Like basically just telling her to get out. And it's just like, and then you find out
some bad blood between the two.
And then you find out after that. So you have no idea what's going on. Like, did the dad leave her? Did the dad leave the mom? Was he cheating on her? You don't really know what the story is here. Come to find out, her mom's a total douchebag that just ups and leaves her kid. Like, who does that? Like, who just gets up and leaves? Like, nope, I'm out. Like, you're a shitty parent.
Yeah.
And And it's like all of a sudden now you want, and she even said that she's like, she abandoned me and now she wants me to come live with her.
Yeah.
She's like, no, I don't want to do that. And then she's like, also, I'm not happy about you marrying my dad. Like
She's not happy with anybody.
yeah. So she's like letting out her grievances, and then that's when she turns into a cat, right, and runs off.
Yeah.
But it's just like there's just a lot of stuff going on, and it's just like she's just, yeah, she's obviously having a hard time, but it's just like she's also not taking anybody's option to talk. So she's being very hypocritical, because she is telling the boy she likes that if he ever needs someone to talk to, that she's there for him, and that he has friends and we all look up to him and think that he's a really good person. And at the same time, she's not taking her own advice by noticing how much her friends like her and her family loves her, and like doesn't ever want to take her, stepmom up for hanging out and like talking about things. Like, it just seems weird and like, very hypocritical of like, she can sense that in other people, but she can't sense that in herself, which maybe that's just human. I don't know. Maybe that's just human nature, that people never want to look at themselves, but I don't know. Yeah. It's that was the stuff that I didn't really care for. Like, the ending seemed shabby and patched together. Like, it just didn't. It should have ended maybe 20 minutes before it did. I don't know what they were running around doing, and they made their way over to the sanctuary thing, and then they had like a redo of the fight that happened 15 minutes earlier, and then they left to get to the very end. Then they just leave and can transform back on the human world. It's like, well, why didn't you just leave in the first place? Why were you moving all around?
Yeah.
Like, it just didn't make any sense to me, like how the ending was moving and moving forward. And then just because I've seen so many animes, I was just like, oh, well, I know what's gonna happen. Like, he's gonna end up over in the cat world, and then now she's got to try to find him, and they gotta reunite, and then everyone has a lovely end. Oh god, that storybook end makes me want to yak. It's so like cliche. It's so cliche. I just can't handle it. I just can't. Again, I've watched so much anime. I could watch a new anime, and generally by the third episode, I could already tell you what's gonna happen. Like, but when you watch a whole bunch, you just kind of, everything always kind of follows the same formula. So it's just like, all right, I get what's happening here. Like, and then everyone's all lovey-dovey, and now the two boys and the two girls, and the one girl's dating the one boy, and the other girl and the other boy also kind of like each other, but they don't want to admit it. And it's just like, you goons. Like, I thought what would have been a good twist was if one of the two boys that was teasing her would have came out and said, hey, I really like you, and I just was really jealous that you were into him. Would you go on a date with me? Like, that would have been cool.
But she would have been like, I'm into Hinode.
But maybe he wasn't into her at all. Maybe he's just like, I'm just really not that. I want to be your friend, but I'm just not romantically interested in you.
Yeah, I don't
because
maybe
at one point he would have been interested in someone else. That they could have introduced that. Well, she was in cat form. Maybe he went out on a date with some other girl that went to some other school.
That would have been
that
funny.
He met through pottery.
That would have been a really, really funny.
So now she's stuck as a cat. He's interested in someone else, but he's like, "Oh, my friend is missing." I didn't know how much I wanted her as a friend until now. Like, I'm just saying, this could have been a little deeper. Could have thrown his curveballs, every once in a while. This is just very straight laced, just like, all right.
Yeah, yeah.
And as I said, it just wasn't very well done, even at that. Like, it's obviously a formula. They tried to throw their weird curveballs at the end of like meeting the other cats that were humans at one point,
Yeah.
which I'm wondering if that one female cat was actually her real mom. I'm wondering. I have a conspiracy theory.
You see her real mom.
But no. So here's the thing, right? Is they take on their form, right? So the one person, what was her name? The girlfriend. I forget what the girlfriend's name. Remember, her cat takes on the girl's human form.
Right, yep.
So the guy sells masks, right? And he can turn humans to cats and cats to humans.
Yeah.
And so what I'm saying is, the woman she meets in the bar also abandoned her child. Because she didn't think she was going to do right by them. So she abandons her husband and child. And I'm wondering if... What?
Who sent the text messages then?
What I'm wondering is if a cat took her place. And that her real mother was the one in the bar. And that the other mother that she thinks is her mom is actually not. She's just the cat who's just playing the character.
I'm gonna have to rewatch that again. That's interesting. I didn't pick up on that at all. Yeah. Interesting.
So,
I've watched it like 2 or 3 times. You'd think I would have caught on to that.
I'm gonna say that would have been a twisty twist, if that's true.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of things to say about that movie, but it was very like up and down, and then you're like I was always just like, why does Hinote just not like this girl? Like, you know what? But it's not even about that. It's not how like he doesn't like her or dislike her. He just has so many other things going on in his life that he's just like, I don't have time for this business.
Yeah, he's like, this person's weird and crazy. I don't have the energy for this right now.
I don't have the energy.
He's like my wife, and my kids are running around half naked. One of them's got a poopy diaper. And she's like, I don't have the energy for this right now. You got to deal with it.
Yeah.
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 So that's my I think the ending could have been cleaned up a little bit better than what it was. I just feel like it kind of dragged on. Yeah. As I said, after the bar scene where they're in the bar and the mask seller comes to the bar, I think then they find each other and they all got the mask or whatever, right? It's like at that point, why didn't they just leave Cat Island? But instead, they went to this like sanctuary location, and then he caught up with them anyways. And then they had this huge fight. Yeah. And I also don't understand because for me, wasn't this like a time thing? Like at midnight.
That fat cat guy had the ability to give a soul back to.
Right. But my understanding that it was all time based. So once time hit time, she was a cat forever. But that didn't seem to be the case.
But that was based on some sort of imaginary contract that he had, spun up in his own head,
But that's what the other. I mean, but we don't have a basis on knowing whether he's lying or not. But that's what he was saying the whole time. He's like, you have 3 days. If all he had to do was bring her to the sanctuary and rip her time out, he could have done that anytime.
Yeah, but she got the mask back and she did that flip thing and like it didn't work.
Yeah, nothing happened.
Clearly, the cat guy was lying to her.
No, because he said that the reason why she didn't change back into a human was because she truly didn't desire to.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But I don't know how much her desire changed between that moment and when she did at the very end, because it didn't feel like she was like half-heartedly wanting to be back to a human. When she tried it and failed,
it seemed like she really wanted to be
a human again. So it was just like, what? What do you mean she didn't really want to be a human?
Yeah, and
like, why didn't it work?
Like only his arms.
Yeah, it's only his arms. But it's probably had to do with like him not making a contract, and you know what I mean, just taking a mask and putting it on.
Yeah. Which was interesting because those masks were very similar. They must be a Japanese thing because they're similar to the ones that are in Demon Slayer. That
they are very much a Japanese thing.
Very much a Japanese thing. I may get one of those and wear it around for Halloween.
Do it.
Yeah. I got my kid a Nezuko costume for Halloween. Demon Slayer.
Oh, his sister. Yeah.
I think I'm gonna get the.
Was.
I think I'm gonna get the Sensei one where it's a guy with the cloud, sort of.
And the mask.
His name is Yoko Giri.
Oh.
No. He has a mask on, and he has like this blue thing with.
He's the one who taught him. The water style, right?
Yeah, taught him. Yep. I can't remember his name. It's something. Whatever. Anyway, I think that's what I'm gonna dress up as for Halloween, which seems very childish, but you know, is what.
You got the brain of a child. It's fine. I get it.
Wow.
No, man, that's cool.
So, how many bowls of soup does a whisker away get? How many bowls of milk?
None. You shouldn't give
none. No. Okay. How many bowls of soup? You can be brutal. It doesn't matter.
I mean, for as much I complain about like the inconsistency of the ending, like I do feel like it was a good one. I'm gonna give her. I gave her a 3 out of 5.
Yeah.
Since I like to stick to solid numbers, I don't think it's quite a 4. And I think putting it on a pedestal of like a 4 that I gave Spirited Away, I think it would be absurd. So
yeah. Yeah, I'd give it a 3.
No, I guess I gave Spirited Away a 5, right? I gave it a 5.
Yeah.
4.
Yeah,
so
you did.
I give her. Yeah, I mean like a 3.5, but I just like to keep solid numbers.
I would say 3. The music, there wasn't really much in the way of. I mean, there was music, but it wasn't like great or anything. It wasn't like. I don't think it'll be hailed as like, some coming of age, movie that's world renowned or anything. But I think it's a 3 for myself.
And I think a younger audience would appreciate it more, like like your daughter. I'm sure my daughter.
Oh yeah, she definitely loved it.
Yeah. So there's just that. I don't think I'm the target audience for this film.
No. I think children between the ages of like 9 and 14, probably. Yeah. So, yeah, two kind of coming of age movies we reviewed tonight. Did you have any sort of anything else you wanted to talk about?
I binged for anybody who likes subtitles. I binged give me a second here. I always forget the name of this thing. Sirei Gensoki, Spirit Chronicles. It's on Crunchyroll, and it was pretty good. I liked it. So I binge watched that. Yeah, I just been watching a lot of anime, watching movies. What else am I crushing through? I think I already said that I watched. Um,
You watched all Visions, right?
hmm?
Star Wars Visions?
Oh no, I haven't gotten into that yet. That's my
No,
next.
you haven't.
That's
Okay.
next on my list. I have been watching. Something you might actually be into is I'm standing on a million lives.
Oh, yeah. I saw that title and I was like, that sounds like an interesting title.
It's a
What's it about?
it's a weird take on an isekai film. So basically, this being these kids are teleported into this world, and they're given a job class and a quest, and they have to
Oh,
complete the quest, right? And then they level up, and once they hit level 10, they get a new job class, but they can still access the old job class if needed. So
okay.
and once they complete the quest, they go back to their world, and it's like time never passed. Um,
Oh, yeah, like being
so
abducted by aliens or something.
yeah, so they're going back and forth between these worlds, and it's the main character is very he's introverted, but he also hates humans and humanity. And
Yep.
quite frankly doesn't care if like they're all gonna die, because the whole reason why they're getting teleported into this new other world is because there is this apocalyptic event gonna occur,
Okay.
and he and this all these other kids that keep getting teleported over are gonna be like the main saviors, or the only
Oh,
people who can save humanity, but they need to be properly trained.
sure.
And
Okay.
so that's why and every time they're brought in, a new kid is also brought. So it's like him and one other person at first. So he's not the first person to get teleported. I think he's the second.
Okay.
And then there's a third, fourth, fifth. So now they're up to five now. Up to five people. And so
Huh.
he was the second, but then and they all get brought in, and they it's like this weird dude too who only has like half a face, like the top right at his nose, it's like cut straight off, and he's like completely naked, and he's got like handprints over his chest. It's super weird, this mystical being, but he just rolls this thing like it's a lottery game, and it's just wherever it stops, that's the class they get. Like it's completely. And so he keeps getting there's like these huge big things like warrior, mage, blah 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 classes, and then there's just a bunch of these really small little niche ones that are like farmer, baker, and then like blacksmith and surgeon or something like that, like just or herbalist and stuff like that. And the main character keeps getting these really small little ones, so he has like no offensive capabilities. Like he can't be a warrior, he can't tote a sword, because you can also only tote the equipment that your
Right.
class is. So he's like fighting monsters in the first couple episodes.
Kind of
He's
like
a
Shield
farmer.
Hero.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
he's a farmer, so he's only allowed to use like a hoe and like a pitchfork, and that's it. Like, and so it's like
That's hilarious. I need to watch that.
and so yeah, it's but yeah, it's what so what are we on now? It's I'm just trying to get to it here fast. I'm looking at the old French dub. So episode 17. So I bet there'll be like 24, but this is like part 2 of episode or season 1.
So there's 17 dubbed episodes.
Yep.
Cool. Okay.
And then yeah, so that's
And that's
so I've been checking
on
out that's on
Crunchyroll.
Crunchyroll. I've been watching
Cool.
on VRV, but it's on Crunchyroll.
Cool.
Other than that, my saint or the saint's magical power is omnipotent. I've been watching that on Funimation.
Okay.
Another isekai girl gets brought in to the world, and she's like super powerful, but
Okay.
she likes to lay low and not have any attention, so she's just kind of doing her thing. It's very slow.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of like the best way to phrase it. Like, it's not like, you know, Shield Hero. It's not like Overlord. It's not like the time I was reincarnated as a slime. Like,
Yeah.
it's just all plot, no action. Like, it's just story. It's all just story. It's very much almost like a slice of life.
Slice of life.
Isekai. Like, it's really no action scenes. I guess this one last episode I watched actually had a fighting, like where they were fighting monsters, but
Right.
that's the first. So that's episode 8. All the other episodes have just been all talk and plot, which again, I like. It's just slow. It'd be probably better to binge if you wanted to binge it and get through it.
Yeah.
But
Cool. Okay. Cool. That'll. So what are we doing next week? Did we talk that? Talk about that?
I don't even know who's hosting this week. It's gonna be Ketsu. Ketsu's on deck, so
Yeah. Well, we'll have to talk offline.
Yeah, we'll have to
See what
harass
we're
him
gonna
and
do.
see what's going on.
Cool. Yeah, it's a little bit shorter.
I got a couple. I guess I have a couple of picks up and ready if we ever want to do them. But
all right, sounds good. Yeah. So I think we're a little bit. Oh wait, did I? Yeah, I did. I gave that thing a 3s. Yeah. So obviously this is a shorter episode because Ketsu isn't here to give his 1/3 of the cents. So
1/3 cent.
1/3 cent. Yeah, but probably do another one either Monday or Tuesday next week, and see where we go from there. Any final thoughts, Briggs?
You should give both of these a watch. They're worth a watch.
1,000, 1,000,000 lives.
No, I meant the movies that we just reviewed.
Oh yes, definitely.
The Aways.
In the comments, give us your bowls that you would give it, please, if you're watching this.
Or if you disagree with us, or if you...
Yeah, or if you have suggestions as to other, anime that we should... There was one anime that somebody did suggest on Pilled, which... What was that? Oh, it was in the group. It was in the Anime Junkies group. If you're not part of that, sign up. It's a public group, I believe. If not, I'll prove you. But the anime
Oni High
is called Blame.
Oh, Blame, son of Michael.
Sort of Michael put this in here, but I haven't. It's a post-apocalyptic thing. Earth is buried in an enormous megastructure created by machines called the Dyson Sphere. Mankind is okay. Actually, that wouldn't be a Dyson Sphere. Anyway, that might be one I might watch. I don't know if it's dubbed though.
Inuyasha the movie 2, not the first one, the second one.
Oh man, that brings me back, dude.
Woke one.
Did I give that back to you?
What?
The necklace.
Mm-mm.
The Inuyasha necklace.
I don't think so.
I'm pretty sure I gave that back to you.
Oh, I don't know. If you did, I don't have it anymore.
Really?
Oh, I mean, I know what you're talking about. It
was like this like blue beaded necklace.
Yeah, it's his necklace. It's the main character's necklace.
Yeah, you'll have to see if you have that.
I don't have it.
Then I probably...
You realize I just moved into a new house and unpacked all my stuff. I don't have it anymore. It's gone. If it's in my possession.
Would you give it to?
I don't know.
You asked me like 15 times. You're like, did you bring that this time? Did you bring that this time? I'm like, no. I believe one time I did bring it with the box.
Oh. I mean...
I have the box. If I still have it, I still have the box in the styrofoam that is packed in. So, yeah.
You have one of my collectible items?
Yes, I probably
it.
do if you do not have
That's
it.
it. We're not
You
friends
you
anymore.
gave it to me. Greg. You gave it to me back in
Yeah,
Bloomington.
that's probably true.
You're probably drunk at the time you gave it to me.
Yeah, I wasn't drinking at that time. Not in Bloomington.
No.
I would have been underaged, and I did not drink when I was under 21.
I did. Okay.
I know, I was there a couple of times.
Yep. Good times. All right.
Good
Well,
times.
thank you everybody for joining us. Even if you're not here and you're watching it later, thank you for watching. And please join us next time. Hopefully Ketsu will be back. Have a great night and watch some anime.